All right, cyber traders, welcome on back. Closing out the week here this Friday, November 6th, shortly after 2:30 p.m. Eastern time, folks. Welcome on back here for our afternoon meeting. Let's get a quick sound check just to begin. Make sure everyone can hear me loud and clear. There we go. Great to see the whole team as usual. Michael D picking up 15 cents on an Uber short from 45 bucks. Very nice job, Michael. David, John, Chuck, Mark S, Jeff, Dan, David. Perfect. I got everybody right there. Norman and Gene tailing on in at the end there. Great to see you all. And for all of us on social media, folks, welcome on back. So let's start by talking about ACB once again, the pot stocks all together, I should say. ACB, Tilray, CGC. We'll go through them all in just a moment. And I got a couple of puns for us here to begin. So let's start with, well, holy smokes. Let's look at this run to begin, right? So, of course, with ACB squeezing on up in pre-market, we ended up expecting a pop at some point after 9:30, whether it would pull back right away and kind of, coil up and then explode, or perhaps just, the big move, right on up as soon as the market opened. So that's essentially what we got, right? It ended up popping, but then from there pulled back. So actually, for all of us on social media and all of us in the trading room, well, for all of us in the trading room, you guys see this typically during the days during Traders Talk in particular. Really quick, I actually have my book map in a nice position right now to where I can just drag on up. And for all of us on social media, you guys have a chance to see level 4 here. So, right now you could see on the ACB trade, the stock ended up making the pop as soon as the market opened, but within the first 5 or so minutes, look what happened. We ended up seeing this stock, hold resistance nicely off of $9.50. From there, it held throughout the whole morning, right? So we're not really trying to get in too close under resistance. At the same point, though, we have to make sure that we see higher lows and support building. So if anything, once this ended up breaking above resistance here off of 910, I personally jumped in right here. I took my first entry on the ACB trade, at least right from this point. It was a short-lived trade. I ended up picking up just about 18 or 17 cents on the trade. Got out right before it dropped. At least a few of us did on that position. Well, from there, picked right back on up from where it had broken out from originally, 910. And then, well, we saw the breakout. So once this ended up breaking above the major resistance off of 950, all bets were off, right? Ended up squeezing up to 10, ended up squeezing way over 10 on the way up towards 11 and above. So, the ACB called a short squeeze, given how far it had dropped off on the daily chart. The reverse splits factored in, but it wasn't just ACB. Like I'd said, it was the whole sector. So really quickly, just to finish up on ACB for right now, just take a look at the daily chart. That's what Fausto was referring to earlier during his morning meeting. And of course, we had went over that just yesterday. So between that and over the reverse split, I think that was back from late April, early May here. I would expect a sharper run on this compared to some of the others. I mean, much more than CGC, which by all means ended up making a great move too. The whole sector, like I said, ran. But again, CGC, Tilray. This ended up making a fantastic run up too, sharper run up heading into the late morning. So between the two, ACB and Tilray, these were the two ones I was more interested in. Tilray didn't have a reverse split, but for anyone joining that's new, well, we ended up trading this stock really back in late 2018. I went through this a few times before, but ended up making the squeeze up from like 25, 30 bucks all the way up to like 300 here at the time. And that was a real run, not just like a BS like reverse split factored in number. Right? That was a real 25 to 300. To this day, over the 6 years that I've been employed by Fausto and CTU, it's probably the biggest move that I've seen in this amount of time. So, given that, I was very excited for both Tilray and CGC in particular. And again, what we'll do is just look at the whole sector here, MJ, the pot stock ETF. So you could see MJ still up over 10%, or just about 11% right now, but pulling back. So I'd assume for all of them to, still continue to drop off, take profits. Heading into the early afternoon, I made a comment inside the trading room just saying that ACB, I would look for a potential support off of 945. I think it can go lower. I think that we could see 920 by the end of the day. If not 920, then, I mean, even 9 whole number. But for the amount of buying that got filled off the initial breakout there heading into the mid-morning, I'm expecting 920 to be a very strong support level heading into at least this afternoon. It's funny, I had a buddy, I texted a couple of friends actually over the last few days. It was actually right before ACB continued to move up in the after hours back from Wednesday. So I was a little late to give them the notice, but at the same time, I mean, with the election and all these states, beginning to consider legalizing marijuana across the board, they all ended up running, right? So they ended up missing out, not just yesterday, but they missed out on the run from this morning. I had a buddy text me mid-morning asking, "Hey, now is now a good time to jump in?" I'd wait for it to pull back a little bit at this point, especially if you're trying to get in on a swing position. So as far as the day trade, I'm expecting 9,920 to act as a major critical support. Otherwise, again, I mean, we'll see what the sector does, alike. For right now, we'll just put them all on our list here to begin. If there's, a really big list heading into the afternoon, I guess we'll kind of trim this, but all right. Someone here in the chat board says the sound is cutting. Just really quick, folks. Just let me know. Are we good? Beautiful weather out here in Long Island, New York. So compared to early this week where my AC was close to being blown out my window by the wind, I think I'm good here, right? All right, cool. Perfect. All right. So, folks, what we'll do, really in tradition, go from top to bottom. I don't have any news to post, really. I mean, MOGO this morning, I didn't really even see the news. Don't have anything from Benzinga Pro. This was on the top of the gainers list, leading into the morning. But as soon as the market opened up, ended up dropping off. So not much to really talk about there. It is squeezing up right now. So, we always tend to see this for a stock that already made a big move up. It's a, low float stock. So it's expected to see this run up heading into the afternoon, but I think it's going to be extremely short lived. So I'm not as likely to put this on our list now at this point. All right. MOD, MCD, MOD. Okay. Nope. Another pot stock, actually, really quick. SNDL. One of our students, John, mentioned to me earlier through private chat, and he also brought it up, I think, to us inside the trading room either earlier this week or at the end of last week even. This is one that he was researching, but he was very bullish on this trade, so he's still in this on a swing position, but ended up taking profits on the squeeze up to begin. So nice job, and we'll keep this one in mind too. All right, this Kern Stock ended up making a big move up. I mean, it looks like it did yesterday. I didn't really focus on this as much yesterday. Pretty low volume, about 4 million shares yesterday. Before yesterday, the stock was trading very low volume, 294,000 shares per day. Today, it ended up making a big move up. I don't know if this is a pot stock as well. It's kind of making that same type of pullback as all the others are here. All right, for right now, we'll kind of pass on this here. Tilray, again, we went over all these. Hexo is another pot stock, HEXO. All flying high today, right? It's another one of my puns I wrote down. All right, this one's not doing much, extremely expensive too. Glue, I'd say the same thing as far as not doing much. You could say kind of holding near the highs, but just not much going on. I mean, I guess it is shortable, so if it does crap out the other way, it's the famous line. But should it do that, I mean, maybe the VWAP would be a nice target as a very short-lived short trade. Pick up a few cents, 10, 15 cents. I'll come back to this maybe. It's a Friday. I'm not really looking for a whole lot to put on our list. APPN, it's at the highs, so that looks good, but very expensive. You got a couple of tongue twister stocks in the sense of LU, which is a new IPO. Actually, this is at all-time highs. Liquidity does check out pretty well here. It's at 17 iceberg order, 17,000 shares. Checks out to me. All right, so we'll put this on our list here, LU. But I was going to say, not to be confused with another IPO that we recently saw trade, LI, right? So LI, this is an EV stock that ended up moving with the others. Neo, XPEV, squeezed up in pre-market but dumped off after the open. So I feel like maybe the stock might have a short little burst out heading into the afternoon, but we'll check back in with the other EV stocks just at the end, and as we go through the gainers and losers here. Kronos, another pot stock. IGC, another pot stock. This was the first pot stock that ended up moving back in late 2018 that we ended up catching Tilray on after. So we'll do that really quick just to show. There we go. right? You could see here back from like September of 2018, pretty much right before all of the others started moving. This was the first that we ended up catching. Flew up, made the same exact move as Tilray. It was a pump and dump, long term, but obviously we're not really looking at that as far as like swing trade. We're just looking to catch the momentum in and out, in and out. So IGC, you could see even here, has made the same type of pump and dump move, but maybe one to keep in mind alongside some of the other pot stocks, just with more, news across the board nationally. PXLW. I saw the pop on this earlier. Yeah, it's kind of fizzled out though. Trying to squeak back up, I guess, but Cody popped up after the market opened. And this was probably one of my better trades personally. I ended up shorting this from 405. I scaled out. I was in on a larger position, so I was scaling out 500 shares at a time. But I ended up, closing most of it out at 382, and then actually at like 377. But nonetheless, flattened out, not really doing much here. GoPro, I guess this could have been a great short as well. Ended up popping, then pulling back. Oh, man, I just meant to click on the PLTR trade. Just refreshed on me. All right, so PLTR ended up making a fantastic move, another IPO. This one, obviously, we've had our eye on since the first day it came out. So, this stock, actually, I mentioned this during the audio broadcast inside our live trading room. This stock, over the last at least 2 years, I only went back 2 years. I went back on Benzinga Pro to do this research. But as far as the number of offering shares on an IPO, this company has the largest number of offering shares off its IPO, more than Uber, more than Rocket Mortgage, more than LI or XPEV of late. And all of those were really high compared to everything else, even just over the last 2 years from that point. So, this stock PLTR, why do I bring this up? It's extremely liquid. So it's not as if we trade every IPO under the sun. IPOs are volatile. So, for the ones that trade very little volume or have very small offering shares or whatnot, they'll make moves, but they're very short-lived. They'll die off. We're not going to trade them after. This is going to be a stock we will likely be following with, for the next many months ahead, years ahead, probably. So definitely keep this one in mind. It is shortable for those of us that have TradeStation today. So for as much as it moved up, broke all-time highs, it has pulled back. It still seems to be very active. I don't mind just putting this on our list as just a tradable stock. It's trading a lot of volume. I'd say, 80 million shares right now, just broke. But for the meantime, I don't mind giving this a look. PLTR either way, up or down. All right, so after that, let's see what else we have. It is a Friday, right? So we don't really have too much on our list aside from the pot stocks. We got Roku up 11% off earnings. There we go. Square moving up with Bitcoin, I'd imagine. I know that Square is one of few companies now. And I know that they posted earnings too. So obviously that's with this move. But Square is a Bitcoin related company now. They ended up investing a lot of their money into Bitcoin. I read. I don't have the article, but want to look into that. I mean, I know that for a fact. So, they ended up making a big pop once that news even came out, and with Bitcoin, running up, this is only, pushing up higher. Really quick, just while I have you in mind here, that actually reminds me of another company. This was the first company that ended up making news of such, of saying that they're, converting a lot of their cash into Bitcoin. The stock MSTR, extremely expensive. I mentioned this only like once before during this afternoon broadcast. It's not often that I'll mention this company, but I forgot when that happened. That was either right here going back into September. You could see the big pop from there, or it was this gap up, one of those 2 days. I know that, but be on the lookout for more and more companies to make those announcements as Bitcoin's, moving up and increasing in value. You're likely to see that happen. James asking here in the chat board, what happened to Riot and Mara? So, well, I'll tell you, Bitcoin ended up slumping off today, or at least after it exploded last night, right? So, Riot's down 1.57% from yesterday's close, but I would say this is more of a swing trade stock than anything, certainly. And I'll tell you this for fact. We always talk about this here. Riot and Mara heading into the afternoons, even if Bitcoin does move up, these stocks rarely make afternoon moves. So that's one thing to factor in particular. The market's kind of slumping off here perhaps as well, so you might happen to see them drop even further a bit, but long term, extremely bullish on them. I'm still on a swing trade on Riot from 332. All right, so let's hop over to the losers list. I wouldn't imagine for there to be a whole lot there, although I will say, holy smokes, there is a lot of stocks that are shortable here, where normally I would say there's a bunch of crap that's hard to borrow. Obviously, ASMB is one that we saw drop off in pre-market. We ended up seeing this continue after the market opened up. I ended up looking for the dead cat bounce on this trade. We ended up catching it. It was short-lived, unfortunately, but myself, Patrick, we ended up catching, what was it, about like 17, 18 cents. Not a huge winner, but well worth it. Jumped in right here off the pot from 5. Ended up squeezing up towards just about 515, 520 level. Broke a little bit higher from there, but fell back down. So right now, this stock not really doing much, but good to keep in mind. With as down as it is, or for considering how far it had dropped, at some point you're likely to see a sharper squeeze up. GBT at the lows of the day right now, trading about 10,000 shares per minute. Liquidity doesn't seem too bad, kind of thin, but the spreads aren't terrible, at least just yet. We'll put this on our watch list, right? I always like to point that out, right? This isn't the CTU. We're going to trade, every one of these lists. It's the CTU watch list. We'll put this on our watch list. We'll feature this. We'll see if the spreads tighten up. If there's a big iceberg order at 37.50, that would help me, further, try and trade the stock. It seems like it's holding over 37.50 low of the day perfectly, so that could be a really good setup. I'd say it's more of like a level 3-ish stock as far as like volatility goes. Auto dropping off. It's at the lows, but right now, again, I kind of pass on this. I mean, liquidity is a little bit more filled in, 14,000 share order at 250. So if I like GBT at 37.50 or whatever, I must be loving this, but not really doing it. I want to see if there's anything else looking better. Evxl. Wow, look at this drop. Huh. Ooh. I particularly love this trade, actually. For those of us inside the trading room, perhaps, or maybe some of us that have been with CTU for quite a number of years, there's like a small inside joke. I'll say it after the broadcast, but nonetheless, I love where it is right now. It's shortable and is at the lows of the day or near the lows right now. So this one, I'm going to certainly put on our watch list, Evxl. One of our students, Lada's cracking up right now. There we go, Lada. I'm happy that you're here to see that at least. Oh, man, that's too funny, right? I'll probably be my best trade of the week right now, at least on the short side, right? Oh, man. All right, so Max are down big. I had them on my earnings calendar going into this morning, folks. In our chat board going into the end of yesterday, I wrote to you guys, at least I slipped it on there, MAXR. Didn't really have a whole lot of activity in the after hours yesterday. Dropped off, I guess, a bit, but after the open. Okay. Oh, how about this one? Got one more for us, Pat, as far as the pun goes with the pot stocks. This isn't a pot stock, but I'll just say it. Whew, got smoked. There we go. I'm out of puns for the day, at least on that. But nonetheless, MAXR got crushed after the open. Shortable, nonetheless, ended up dropping off from 26 down to just about 21. Squeezing back up right now. It's on lower volume, at least over the last few minutes, but I don't mind putting this on our watch list too. We'll kind of be right there with GBT. All right, so let's see what else do we have here, if there's anything else. Hall of Fame, hard to borrow today, still dropping off. Just kind of skimming the losers list by name, seeing if there's anything familiar that stands out, like that MAXR. And PBYI, I've seen trade before. Let's see. Yeah, it's like trying to test that 750 again. Seems pretty slow, low volume, only trading about like 1,500, 2,000 shares per minute at best. Yeah, Jinko Solar on there, JKS. We'll look at that, albeit pretty expensive. Dropped off a lot today, so it took a nice discount in price. I think that just about does it, folks. If there's anything else that looks good, let me know. I'll take a look at the EV stocks right away. And like I said, I'll check in with those at least at the end. Neo is just like schizo right now, just up and down, up and down. Honestly, like just it's not the best chart to watch. LI has been the biggest, and I mean the biggest tease for a short today. So I did really well in the morning. Honestly, Monday and Friday this week were better than Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday for me personally. I don't know how or why that happened, but there was a lot of opportunity this morning. That said, I've taken a couple of small losses heading into the afternoon, like 10-cent loss on a short, and then I ended up getting stopped out on a 6-cent loss, actually right when we started this meeting. I heard TradeStation, the order execution voice fill. So, nonetheless, it popped back over 26. I got stopped out on a short trade. But man, this stock has been such a tease. We ended up seeing a lot of selling off 26 throughout the day, although it hasn't gone anywhere. So, I'm not as interested in putting this on our watch list right now. Xpev showing a little bit more direction, it looks like, at least, dropped off as soon as the market opened up, pulled back a little bit further, still a little, up and down, but seems like it wants to break a little bit lower there. Debbie and Leda saying UAVS, let's take a look at. Nice pop. Great call, guys. Ladies, I should say. UAVS ended up making the squeeze up from 215, popped up towards a high of 242. All right, so let me take a quick look at Benzinga Pro. I said I didn't have any news for us, but imagine there's a reason as to why this is running. All right, so I'm going to copy and paste the news for all of us, at least here on the chat board and now on social media here. Just give me a quick sec. There we go. Traders circulate Bloomberg report about transporting COVID-19 tests drone. It's an interesting sentence. I don't know what that entails. Right now, I'm not going to look into it because I'm just going to try and follow the trend in the volume traded right now on the stock, right? So it's already pulling back. I would imagine this to kind of make an under and over move. 225 looks interesting, otherwise 220. But from that point, though, great call. I mean, we'll see if this can hold support and squeeze up higher. All right, Pat picking up 12 cents on ACB from 950. You know what's funny, Pat? Also alongside that stop that I just took on LI heading into the afternoon meeting here, I was wondering, like, what else did I just get filled on? I knew there was something. Here we go, right? Now, I say that because, well, you could see here, this ended up making the first drop. It dropped down towards 940, ended up crashing down to a low where 933. Where'd I have my order set? Was it on 45 on the kisser? It was at 43. So I ended up getting filled at 943 patches. Now I'm going to set my stop at least here. So if I end up getting stopped out somehow on this trade coming up, I'm going to close pretty fast. All right. Well, I did say 920 just before. So to clarify, I told Pat just before inside our trading room a little bit earlier throughout the day. I said initially 945. And then I said, if this could continue to drop from the volatility, I would think 920 would be like the absolute bounce point. I think it hit 933 as the low there. It's squeaking on up nicely. I mean, I might just scalp this and get the hell out right now. Like, really, I'm up like 40 cents on this. For a stock like ACB, I mean, I wouldn't have thought it would be trading this fast. So it's still maintaining strong trend down as far as lower highs go. So I think I might just take half profits at least right now, and then maybe just hold on to the other half and see where it takes me. Actually, I just did that. All right. Pat, I appreciate you typing that in the chat board. I would have come back to ACB soon enough, but damn, that was a fast bounce and a right back up. So I clocked out half my profits at 976 there. Whew. All right, folks, anything else from the chat board and at least on social media, Facebook Live, YouTube? And check Benzinga Pro at least right now. Ooh, and I'm happy I did. We got a call out. Let's take a look. AUVI breaking a new high of the day right now. Ended up making this like a low volume run, at least heading into the 3 o'clock right now. So For the meantime, I guess I'll slip this on our list. It was a stock that shown some action early in pre-market. I actually had this written down on my notepad heading into the morning, but otherwise didn't do really much of anything until this point. So we'll see what it brings us. Again, another stock I like to emphasize. It's the CTU, afternoon watch list. We're not going to just throw a dart on the wall and hope it lands on this trade. Extremely volatile, as you could even see here back from like early last week. I think it was. A huge pump and dump from the pre-market, ended up making this big run in pre-market, dumped off as soon as the market opened up. All right, Robert, calling out the ASMB at the end here, but I'm not as keen to put this on our list, Robert. It looks like it's down a lot, so you'd hope to see a big squeeze up on this trade heading into the afternoon. I think given the volume that it's traded so far today, I don't know how likely that is. So it does offer great opportunity in terms of range, but I feel like for right now, there are better ones to follow, at least to begin. Now, at that point, in the next 10 minutes, if I see a lot more volume to change my opinion otherwise, I will let you know, certainly. But I think that there are some better opportunities, though, at least on our list to start. All right. Norman calling out the LU stock already, saying that it's worth watching right now. So again, that's on our list already, breaking all-time highs. It broke over the iceberg order at 17, kind of shaking around though for the meantime, Norman. So I'd be a little careful even to see continuation. Make sure this could pop even just from the last peak on the chart. All right, folks. So for the meantime, at least we have I don't really know how many stocks, because we have the pot stocks and then probably about 5 or 6 others that will feature watch heading into the afternoon. I wouldn't expect this to happen, but if there's nothing from this list that ends up moving within the next 10 or so minutes, 15 or so minutes, we'll look to rescan the market from there, see if there's anything else for us to watch or trade heading into the end of the week here. All right, folks, for all of us in social media, just make sure that you guys like, subscribe, notify, as always, right on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/cybertradingu. It's a tongue twister. It's been a long week, so pardon me there. Otherwise, feel more than free to join us weekdays, Monday to Friday, live inside the Cyber Group Trading Room. You'll see the link right on the banner below. Make sure you go to it to sign up for our trial. For all of us inside the trading room, I'm going to post and tweet the picks. I'm going to jump on a quick call. I'll be back right at 3:30, taking us into the final 30 minutes of the day. Take care.